stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy and other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
Today, our top 4 face-off in back-to-back rematches, setting the stage for the final 2 days of this competition, and it is truly anyone's game. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Day 7 of Masters, coming at you live from the UOB Live right here in Bangkok, Thailand. I'm Golden Boy here alongside Kukuka. Joining us here today as well, it's a sideshow, and as the fans starting to roll on in, it's going to be a fun day. We got great matches lined up, and Josh, good to have you on the desk here again.
Yeah, it's sick to join you. We're in the real crunch end of Masters Bangkok. I think all of the games today are rematches, but have the potential to go in wildly different directions. So that's always a good place to be in the tournament.
Oh, well, let's go ahead and talk about what we saw on this stage yesterday, because we had what some are calling the Mastercard Thrifty Bowl, because there was just so many, and Mastercard got their payment. I'm telling you right there, they got their money's worth. But Kukuka, this was definitely a wild series, without a doubt.
Absolutely, because I think that we're getting to see a T1 that is proven that they had to make it out of that group stage. They had to make it out of Swiss, and they deserve that. But we're also seeing an EDG that never crumbles under pressure.
And then the other game, you got a barn burner, because these two teams, I think a lot of people were looking at representing Americas, representing EMEA as being potential grand finalists. Ended up going tete-a-tete, and G2 looked like they recovered after their bad loss against EDG.
Tete-a-tete just said you...
He said tete.
oh, that's right. Hey, for the Spanish speakers out there. In any case, though, but you were not wrong on that. They did go shot for shot.
Yeah.
Tete-a-tete, if
head
you will.
to head.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the bracket and how everything plays out today. Because for EDG and G2, you win here. You cement your place in history. You will be in the grand finals here at Bangkok, Thailand. And then on the other side, we have our high-stakes matchup for both of these teams, obviously. But when you think about vitality in this situation, this is not where a team of this caliber, of this talent, would find themselves in. A super team
exactly.
would find
But
themselves in.
this is one of the hurdles that they had to go through. Yesterday, they had their first loss ever as a roster, all of them together. So I want to see how they balance off today, and if they can do it and continue in the competition. There was a lot of questions to whether they were going to be able to do it throughout the year.
Yeah.
G2 looked like they improved after the loss against EDG. I'm expecting Vitality to look like they've improved after their first loss of the year as well. You need to lose to learn, and it wasn't an elimination game.
Exactly. So they do manage to stay alive for right now, but the pressure is most definitely on. That, of course, brings us to, well, a Mastercard fan poll. Mastercard's getting a lot of love today here, baby. All right, now we want to know who will be our first team to qualify for the grand finals. Is it going to be EDG or G2? You can scan the QR code that's going to pop up on the screens right there. Go ahead, go nuts, have fun with that one. Cast your vote, and we'll see the results in just a little bit. And, as always, make sure you use the hashtags VALORANT Masters and VCT so we can go ahead and feature the good stuff on the show.
Only the good stuff, though?
And look, and they've been sending some good stuff.
They have.
They've been some good stuff.
I like it when they sneak in some subtle roast of a team that just slips under the radar as well.
The clown one you're talking about? Yeah, I saw that one.
It was funny, at least.
It was great.
You know?
It was. Credit to that person, whoever it may be. We'll find out. Now, of course, the trophy isn't the only thing up for grabs, because this Sunday, we're also going to be giving away the MVP bracelet. It's not this one. My mom gave me this one. Now, let's see if we can single out our early favorite. Who is the MVP? We have this awesome game where basically we're just going to be debating in a bracket format who is going to be the MVP of this event. And you guys can go ahead and participate in this, because we have 8 players, 2 from each team, and we're going to work through all the matchups until only one remains. So, bring up the graphic. Here we go. Oh, this is offensive.
Yeah, we've done this segment before. We had it in Game Changer Championship. Where do you want? I guess top left.
I mean, yeah, we can start at the top left if you like. It's a little
difficult.
I mean, it's not that difficult, but I do feel it's a bit rough to be eliminating one of the T1 players early on. There's just no context here. It has to be Chichoo. Chichoo was front runner for MVP throughout champs. He's coming, performing pretty much the same way here. He's one of the lead runners in the race for the bracelet.
Even better, I think that he is one of the core pieces that we can see this EDG adapting and evolving within the rest of the team and within the rest of the meta. And I wouldn't say it has affected his personal performance because it's individually he's even better if he could.
He needs to stop skipping leg day, though. I can tell you that.
Ain't that the truth, buddy? Get some carbs in you. All right, let's go to the next one. Here we got Meteor and Trent.
Now, my vote here, I think, would be for Trent. I think he's been the best performing player for G2.
Absolutely.
And while he's not at the front runner necessarily for the overall MVP race, I think he's been performing better than Meteor has.
I absolutely dislike agreeing with you. Not absolutely. No, but I like when we are in disagreements because I think that there are points to be made for Meteor, you know? Like, maybe I get a little bit behind because I like his vibes. I think that he's also within the tournament gotten better with it. I'm still not a fan of the kill chip, but I understand that he's just slotting in. I think that he individually is good, but I agree with you. The way that Trent is playing the Dejo and how good it looks within G2, I have to go.
Yeah, all right, well, let's go to the top right and see our next one. We got Leaf and Trex.
Now,
Damn, man.
And here's the question.
I'm saying Leaf. I'm throwing my hat and I'm going to say Leaf. He's been unbelievable.
And the question is Kukuka going to betray EMEA again?
No.
Trex has been playing well. He's had a great tournament.
I think that for the longest time, Trex has been like an underdog in the sense that we don't highlight him
He
enough.
still is here.
Yeah. Okay, listen, this bracket is going to advance, and at some point you're going to have to say no. But again, I think that Leaf must be playing so well.
It's got to be Leaf.
It's got to be Leaf.
Got to be one singular Leaf. One Leaf.
I'm
Why do you
really
put me
sorry.
in this desk with this two bold American man? Like, okay.
Really sorry, and also
Okay,
he's British.
Now this one's not fair.
This one's dirty.
This one's disgusting. Who put this as a first-round matchup? Can you imagine having this? Singular limb.
So here we have two ways to go about this, right? Like, Kong is just amazing, Dirk is just amazing, but Kong did say that he wanted to play against Dirk because he considers him to be the best. So if we really believe in Kong's work,
if you respect Kong enough,
exactly,
you would vote for Durka.
Exactly. So that's my pitch. That's why everybody should vote for Dirk.
I am going to have to say Kong.
Josh, you have to break this tie.
No, I'm going with Durka.
Durka.
Oh my God, I cannot.
Okay.
Durka's been annihilated.
What world is Kong getting first rounded?
I mean, that's disgusting.
Okay, now we have our next bracket. So let's go over to the next one. We got Chichoo and Trent, and then Leaf and Durka. Let's start with Chichoo and Trent. I think it's got to be Chichoo for sure.
Like, Trent is within the context of
You're
G2.
trolling.
Trent is within the context of G2 and wouldn't like look so good, but Chichoo, like on those individual moments of brilliance, is Chichoo.
Yeah, and that's why I don't feel as bad for not having Kong in there, because actually Chichoo has been better than in this tournament.
Now, I am going to just say that it should be Leaf because they beat them yesterday and Durka didn't do anything in the last map.
I will leave the building.
I
will leave the building.
We have to speak to him like he's a normal Valorant fan, okay?
Yes.
Golden Boy, more than just the most recent match matters. So you can't just look at what they did yesterday. You also have to look at what they've done in the last week.
Recency bias
And
isn't
how about
most
not only in the
important
last week, but in the last 5 wonderful years
Okay,
of
well
Valorant
now
that
you're
we've
just
had?
going too far.
No,
okay?
Durka-
You can't go that far with Durka.
If Durka wins this tournament, he is the greatest of all-time player. He will have equaled Chronicle with the amount of trophies that he has.
All right,
he will have overtaken Aspas. Get him in.
Put Durka. He's
Josh,
my ball brother. Put him in there. All right, next up we got Durka and Chichoo. Good luck.
I think we just leave it at a tie.
I
think
You gotta
it's
pick. You gotta pick.
Like, the way this man is performing is just off the charts. And I think that this is now when we put that recency bias and we put that, they are
Honestly,
winning.
I'm gonna
They
make
haven't
my way
lost
over to
yet
chat.
here.
Durka is going to come out and resurge again after what was a mortal performance against G2, and he's going to wipe the floor with the rest of the tournament. He's going to surge through the lower bracket, take down EDG, who lose to G2 today, and Chichoo's going to get knocked out in third place.
I like how our production team is like flashing Durka as you keep talking, but then when the dissenting point comes in, then Chichoo gets flashed. So,
honestly,
guys, we got to lock it.
Honestly, in
There's
my
something
opinion,
about Durka's post.
these are the top two. These are the top two.
Here's the thing, though, right? I look at it as MVP for this tournament, and Chichoo has had
Has a point.
incredible tournament.
Yep.
So you kind of have to, like, not to disparage Durka because he's having a great tournament as well, but Chichoo's come up in this tournament context actually is quite important. in my opinion.
No, that's okay. Just say you're a bold traitor. Just say you're a traitor to bold people. That's fine.
Whoa, brother. Okay,
That's fine.
Listen, I've been supporting the follically challenge for a hot minute.
I expect it from the hairy one in the middle, but I do not.
You expect it from the pop. All right.
I go for Chichoo. If someone with hair needs to make this call, I think that
Chichoo.
Alex has a very good point, and it's the fact that EDG so far are undefeated, you know, and I think that they could win this entire tournament without having a single loss. One of the key parts and one of the most important ones in those high pressure rounds is Chichoo. So right now, as of today, Chichoo do be the MVP.
All right. Well, chat, do you agree? Do you like what we have to say about this? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Make sure you're out there using those hashtags, Valorant Masters as well as VCT. Let us know. I want to see some responses in the commercial break. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's upper final. And first, let's go ahead and hear from EDG's Kong, who had an opportunity to catch up with Jen Lee ahead of today's matchup.
Sawadee Krap. Hello everyone, it's Jen Lee with Kong and Luna for translation. Now Kong, you guys are facing Chichoo again, and it looks like they bounced right back after losing to you guys. So what is your mindset coming into tonight's game?
今天这一场比赛呢是你们和G2的2番战了嘛，在输给你们之后，他们是绝地反击，重振旗鼓了。那今天这场比赛会以怎样的心态来面对呢？
我觉得先不要场外吧，然后好好的打每一场对局。然后我认为最重要的还是友谊第一，比赛第二。
Don't be affected by too much factors from out of server. I think we're just gonna play the game and just, you know, friendship is #1, and then it's the competitive things.
Right, my humble king Kong. Thank you and good luck.
Oh, Kong just being such a nice guy there, talking about friendship and stuff, but you got to put it all away on the server, brother, because you got to throw down in the octagon. And we got these two teams ready to go, and they've already met, as a matter of fact. Day 3 in the Swiss stage, and it was a wild one, but it was EDG walking away with the win after the flattening in map 3.
Yeah, exactly. So we, at the beginning of the tournament, said how this was a rematch of something that had already happened in Champs, and it was actually G2 winning against EDG. And that was the last loss that EDG has had on a global stage. Now, today, that could change, especially after them getting their revenge. And as you're saying, it's starting off extremely evened out. But with an EDG that was changing the compositions, that was coming up with a lot of surprises. But the preparation, you know, didn't change much for G2. And then in this last one, Josh...
Yeah. They got smoked in the last map. And the reason that I wanted to showcase that with the pistol rounds is because also EDG ended up going 6-0, winning every single pistol round throughout the series, which is really difficult to come back from, but it wasn't, like you said, really the deciding factor. The deciding factor was that they hard antied them with the Neon comp on Fracture, dismantled what G2 were doing, and took them down. I am slightly concerned, though, with the amount that G2 used the stingers in this game, that what we saw yesterday from EDG, where they were stumbling on the anti-ecos, it might trip them up again.
Yeah, I'm actually really glad you mentioned that, because yesterday, look, it was not an easy dub for EDG against T1. And actually, check out this clip from Tarek's stream when he was standing by with John QT and talking to Kong about the stingers, specifically.
We've seen you guys, like, lose a lot of Trichy's ecos.
Oh yeah, you guys actually lost like 10.
What do you think is the problem?
I don't know what happened with it. Just if they eco, we play anti-eco.
Yes.
We're always afraid. Just maybe they stinger again.
Oh, okay.
Just every single players was very careful. Then we're afraid to pick. They just pick us.
Okay. There were insane sheriff shots too.
Yeah.
EDG had 13 anti-ecos. They lost 8 of them against T1. That's a huge amount. I mean, normally you're converting like 80-90% of those anti-eco rounds.
Yeah.
So they really struggled there. And G2 are the team that likes to pick up the stingers the most. So there is potential for some chaos, some mud.
Yeah, and we saw what G2 were doing with those stingers, man.
Yeah.
They were diabolical.
It's been a theme throughout the tournament, absolutely. And many teams have struggled. So we can perfectly understand that even from the winning position of Kong, it is a hurdle, and sometimes, you know, you do not know how to react or how to play the round.
Yeah, that's right. Now, of course, EDG is looking to make it to back-to-back global grand finals, joining an elite club with the likes of Loud as well as Fnatic, Team Heretics as well. This is a big opportunity here for EDG Sideshow to really, I mean, they've already cemented themselves in history, but you know that they want even more.
Yeah, Fnatic are the only team that have ever been able to get back-to-back titles, and they weren't able to get champs and a Masters event.
Yeah.
There's only one player ever that's been able to win champs and Masters, and that's Sassy, who's retired now at this point, right? So that's an attainable objective. It's what Jorgamo is also fighting for, because he's a former champs winner too. But they really do here, EDG, have a chance to start a legacy, a dynasty, and kind of carry the rest of Chinese Valorant forwards into a new golden age.
You're going to mention Les? You're going to do him dirty like that?
He's not playing in this match.
It doesn't matter. But yeah.
But yes, you're right.
It's just the treason there. But as you're saying, I think that is very important for them because of the history when China joined, like the space that they had in the competitive scene and where they are today and how good they're looking.
That's the important thing, is how fast all this has happened. We were talking, I remember Lauren being like, Billy, like 1,500 times. And now here we are, and we're talking about China like winning tournaments like it's nothing.
Do you remember Boostio saying that China would never catch up to North America?
God.
Boostio's famously never been wrong about anything. Of course, let's go and talk about the, actually the bind comp. And let's focus the conversation a little bit on G2 here, because there were some interesting things that we were getting from G2. One of the things in particular was that they had a very clear response to the, like, what they wanted to do with this composition, slotting in the Yoru. It worked out well for them. It was an OT win, Kukuka, but still, they managed to pick up that dub.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned the Yoru, but I think that the most important part is on Jonabi and Trent picking up the breach and the Tejo, especially from the especially from the defense. Which, if you pick the map, you will probably start on that side of the map. The ideas that they had on how to force Vitality into wrong duels, how to re-clear the space, because it's a composition that does not have the Viper, so you have to look at a different approach on how to like control the space, and they had very good ideas.
The maps are going to be vitally important here. I think G2 are almost certainly going to get rid of Fracture because they got steamrolled when it came to that final map the last two times these teams faced off. So then that opens up, all right, if you're going to ban Fracture, you're opening yourself up to getting punished on Split, which we've only seen G2 play one time where they lost to Sentinels. And where does G2 actually find their value in the map pool? I think that's a big question.
Yeah, very true, very true. Now, Kukuk, I know you had a telestrator for us about G2 and these compositions in particular.
Yeah, exactly. But I wanted to take a look at Lotus, you know, because I think that even though we saw some very good ideas on Bind, I wanted to see how that translated when we moved onto their map pick, like how are they so sure? And I wanted to take a look at this round, especially because the context is very important. So many times it's not about the weapons you have, but actually what you do with them. And in this one, Josh, in this one, as you can see, G2 does not have the best buy in the world, but it's more of how they use the tools that they actually have. Jonabi doesn't even have flashes for this one, and they're going to try and force Vitality into not knowing what the heck to do with this map. Right off the bat, we see how Vitality just has this constant idea of just getting rebel control and probably putting the shear, like the wall from Vice here to prevent any pushes from coming. And the idea that G2 is going to have is, number one, put in the smoke here and giving a one-way to leave, and then also do a little bit of a push. Now, the strength of this composition is obviously the agents that you have and the utility that just keeps coming back. So what they do is that they're very wise when they're investing. They send the Tejo drone, okay, and that forces a Vitality that has no control over C or no information, same goes with B, to make a decision. And the decision is, if they're in an eco, there's a high chance that they are pushing onto us. So what we're going to see is Vitality just going back, oh, this is the other way, going back and trying to retrieve it. But the movement from G2, also thinking that that could rush them onto Rebel and actually push them onto the side, is going to be to reposition and then use the other two pieces of utility that will be retrievable in the rest of the round, which are the stun and the salvos coming in from Tejo. They do invest the paranoia in case that push is just accelerating and they're just going onto Jogemo. Instead, they will go, Vitality will go onto Mount and try to regain control of that. And even though Leaf goes down, he does a bit of damage. This is when things start to get a little bit shaky. But this has been already an entire, for almost 40 seconds of the round. And they have to keep constant care onto G2 not pushing because of this trident of players constantly putting utility onto them. This is going to be resolved with a Vitality that at some point makes the call to, well, still, remember, retrievable utility. Those salvos are going to come back. Those stuns are going to come back. And the response of Vitality is actually to go on to B. From this on, they're going to, G2's going to be able to isolate the kills. There's only 20 seconds left. I'm just going to let the round play from now on. There's only 20 seconds left, and they have to get the plant down. They've been dealt some damage, and you're not going to believe it, but Trent will eventually get even more salvos on. Vitality is put in such a high pressure situation where they are the ones actually that might end up with the disadvantage. Rest of it is history. Trent beautifully gets one. Again, those salvos come back. Jogemo comes and push through the smoke, and that's how you convert one of those beautiful ecos, Josh.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting when you think about what composition EDG are going to be running on the other side if we do end up going to Lotus. They've been playing since July this Death Ball composition, which has the Breach and the Clove and all of this kind of stuff, the double smokes, and they kind of roam around the map in a big blob. And you have Jorgamo who can peek for info and get out. Then you have the Tejo drone. There's so much utility there. I think it's going to be a real challenge. I'd almost like to see EDG change up their composition if they're going to play into that.
I mean, they've been changing a lot of compositions. I don't see why Lotus would be different if we end up going there.
Hey, and we have been seeing teams like try to counter what some of these picks are coming in from these other squads. G2 did that literally. We were talking about that to Vitality yesterday. But let's actually get some head-to-heads here because we got nobody going up against Trent, and this is going to be, you know, for all the Tejos out there. Okay, these guys have been rocking that agent, but as we were talking about with Trent in that MVP conversation there, Sideshow, he has been playing phenomenally for this G2.
Yeah, he's been doing great. He's frying. I mean, he's playing some of the best Valorant he's played since he's got into the Tier 1 level. He's finally getting himself super comfortable in a LAN environment and performing to his best while he's here on the biggest stage. And we actually haven't seen nobody have one of his takeover games. Sometimes nobody, even though he's the IGL and he's a little bit silly, he's a little goofy, he can just run around and kind of dominate. But we haven't seen one of those games yet from nobody. He did it in the Chinese Grand Finals, hasn't done it here. Hey. So he's a player that could step up and be an X Factor.
No time like the present. No time like the present. But of course, well, let's actually jump in over toward Trent because he had a big win yesterday with G2, and we had an opportunity to catch up with him in this Omen player moment.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Trent here from G2. Feeling good after the match win versus Vitality. Team played great. We always want to give our opponent like the level of respect that they deserve. As for Vitality, they're a very good team. They have 5 incredible players, so we knew that was going to be hard, but we were very confident going into it. I'm just happy that they probably feel good that they got their revenge back on them. And yeah, I mean, Derke's a great player, so, and Vitality's a great team, so beating them is definitely giving us a lot of confidence.
Splitting up for the time being. Paranoia, that's a double blind. Nearsighted as both of them, they're just trying to cut sound cues away. Keep a series of unknowns into the play, but JP forced to reveal his hand. It's 3 to round 4, and will he get the 4? Yes, he will!
The fans here in Thailand, you guys are awesome. Even today on like a Thursday at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, you guys filled up the back section. So feeling the energy from you guys and like all the positive vibes from people running up to us after the matches or always screaming G2. We really appreciate the support, and we're trying to win it for you guys.
Now today we're going to be seeing 2 stone cold killers face off against one another. We talked about it briefly in the MVP discussion. Let's run it back again. It's Chichoo and Leaf. These 2 guys have been playing so well throughout the event. Leaf always a stellar performer, but really it's been Chichoo's just absolute dominance in this tournament that has been the talk of the town.
Time and time again, it's not one map, it's not one of the matches, it's constantly in all of these rounds. We've seen the aces, also the combination with the rest of the team. We can see the same for Leaf. Both playing from the similar roles. I want to see more, and I would hope to go to the maps where Leaf goes on the chamber more often.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, Chichoo dominated last time these 2 teams played against each other. In terms of the actual match that we saw between the 2, Chichoo kind of diffed. So I'm looking to see Leaf have more impact, get good reads on what's happening, get those pushes on defense going. Because, like you see, the most played here for Leaf is Viper, and I think if they get onto Lotus and he's playing a lot of that, he really can get a read on the game and play really nicely around what the attackers are doing.
Yeah, of course, and we'll see how that whole head-to-head is going to be playing out there. And one of the individuals that's going to be orchestrating all the pieces in that head-to-head is, of course, the IGL Valyn for G2, standing by with Jen Lee to get his thoughts ahead of today's match.
Hey yo, what's up everybody? Jen Lee here with Valyn. Now Valyn, JP yesterday said losing to EDG was the stumble that you guys needed. Now what do you think you guys learned from that series that might help you come out on top today?
I think I was calling too fast-paced versus them last time, so this time around we kind of reviewed the match and just saw where it all went wrong because it was such a devastating loss. And yeah, I think it was a bit of like a reality check too. So now we feel a lot more confident and we know our weaknesses and we worked on them. So I think it's gonna be a different result.
How many maps are you winning today?
3 maps.
Oh, 3 maps.
he knows it's a BO3.
He's just thinking about getting to the BO5.
Ah, okay, okay. All right,
He's already in the future.
Look, guys, both teams are playing in our first matchup have shown some really creative ways of stopping utility, most notably Brimstone Mollies on Vine. Let's actually go ahead and show some of these moments here because there were some really awesome moments, like EDG did this a while ago when they managed to block the Molly dropping in, thus allowing them to get that diffuse off.
So whatever you think you can do, Chichoo can do better, is what you're trying to tell me?
Pretty much.
He got his foot on it there, didn't he? He got his right foot on it.
Look at this one. This is the Jogamo one. He actually went for a little header.
I love that.
But he missed, you see? Whatever jumping
Oh, there was a gap. Look, there was a gap. It's just that the salvos came in at the back. He can't be held responsible for the insane cringe post plant that his opponents were playing.
Well, you know what? Look, I saw that, and the only value I bring to this show is funny bits. So I figured what would be a good idea to do something I like to call the Jog Challenge, where you got to get one of these awesome little plushies that we have, our Valorant plushies, whether it's Wingman, a little bro, or Dan, or Tactibear, into this bucket right here. Okay, he's got to do a header. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm gonna ask you questions while we do this. Okay,
right.
so Josh, really, I guess if you had to say what would be one of the things that would potentially be G2's downfall in this game, in this series, what would it be?
I think it'd be the individual form of people like. No, not quite.
Keep going.
I think it'd be the individual form of people like. Kankan or Chichoo. If Kankan or Chichoo have a really good game, I'm so close, man.
Come out!
Oh my god!
All right, Kakuka.
Jesus,
Kakuka, let
I
me
am
ask
going
you,
to miss.
What do you think about G2's chances winning this game? What would be their potential downfall?
There is no downfall coming in from. That was terrible. That was coming in here. Come on, you can do better than that.
This is the best job ever.
I think that I believe in what Valyn said. They're going to change everything and just play. I can't do this. And just play how they did yesterday. I think that. Oh yeah. No. Let's go him.
Oh! Get it again. Oh!
So just like we thought, and just like Jogamo showed us yesterday, this is actually harder than it looks like.
Yeah, it clearly is. We got a rehearsal, and then, dang it!
It's so close.
I tried. What would be EDG's potential downfall then?
I think it would be changing too many compositions. I think if they do try to pick split, thinking that it's a trap. Sorry, if they do pick split, thinking that it's a weakness for G2.
Of course.
G2 have only played it once this entire year.
Yeah.
I can see them changing the comp, coming out with good ideas. I'm nearly headbutting the desk there, GB.
Let me throw it at Alex.
All right, here we go.
Okay, you got it. This is our last shot. Okay. That was too low. I'm so sorry. It's the first time that I got the wingman.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
Little fun fact about me. I am one of the only Puerto Rican soccer players in my high school. And I sucked, as you could tell. Well, we failed, but overall, we got a good exercise. So it's now time for the results of our Mastercard fan poll. And earlier we asked you which team will be the first to qualify for Sunday's grand finals. And 65% says EDG.
I feel like this is because EDG kind of flattened G2 on Bind and Fracture when we last saw them play, but people are not taking into account that the map pool is going to change and that G2 have taken away some specific lessons and ante.
Absolutely, and also the surprises are not going to be there anymore. EDG has played most of the maps so far here in the competition. They still have some that they haven't touched, but that is not a surprise anymore. You're still going to come in, and I think the G2 have a lot to be scared of, but I trust Valyn. I trust his knowledge.
I crossed Valyn a few times in the hallway. We chatted for a bit. Confidence is high for the IGL. Confidence is high, and that's why I picked them, baby, because they're going to go to the grand finals. The predictions are in for our talent here. Sideshow, you went EDG and Vitality, and Bea, you went G2 and Vitality.
I really think that after what we saw yesterday, like I regained my confidence in it. Maybe I really expected EDG to win against T1, and maybe that's why it didn't surprise me anymore that much. But I still think it's very evened out. It depends a lot on the maps, I think.
Yeah, I think G2 are almost certainly going to be getting rid of Fracture, and then it just comes down to how they with their new composition, might be able to win on Bind, and that should be utterly key.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome to see how this all plays out. You got a G2 that is hungry for that grand finals, an EDG that wants to make history. We got back-to-back rematches on the way as we decide our top three. EDG versus G2, T1 versus Vitality. Day 7 of Masters Bangkok starts right now.
Now it all comes down to this, do or die.
저희 T1은 물러날 곳이 없을 때 더 잘하는 것 같습니다. 일단은 저희가 조별 예선에서 바이탈리티한테 한번 졌었잖아요. 지금 저희는 더 강해졌고 더 강력해졌기 때문에 바이탈리티를 무조건 이기도록 하겠습니다.
Getting stronger and stronger, Sylvan just rejoining the squad, needing to ace clutch to keep them in the map. Avoids a fault line, swings back, finds one! And Sylvan will bail them out!
We are more of an adaptive team. We can play aggressive, we can play slow.
Vitality on pace to potentially steal this round away!
T1, good luck.
복수를 할 수 있도록 무조건 보여드리겠습니다, 바이탈리티.
首先，我觉得我们现在队伍的实力其实肯定是很强烈、很高的水准。
He was taking T1's head, he was taking T1's name, and EDG has taken this match.
我觉得我们现在已经就是无所畏惧了。
For G2, I know those guys are going to be hankering for the rematch against EDG.
We lost them last time, so we're coming in with a different game plan. We know what to expect now. We know we're doing right.
P forced to reveal his hand. It's 3 in round 4. Will he get the 4th? Yes, he will!
We have that confidence in us to execute it.
There is no comfort. There is no surviving. Nice. G2 gets what they want.
The team to beat EDG has been born.
What a way to start things off here in Bangkok, Thailand, as your world champions making their way to the stage. And a big chance for them to do the unthinkable, punch their ticket to a grand final, make history, and not just put China on the map, cement China's legacy in Valorant forever.
They're hunting for something big here, something that barely any team has ever done. And the team that stands before them, G2. G2 have been in this spot before at Masters Shanghai. They got their way into the upper finals. They didn't win a map after that. Bombed out 0-2, 0-3. Valyn says, we just have to make sure history doesn't repeat itself.
And history is constantly changing. Will it change also when we go into the map Vita? Remember, everybody, this is a rematch of something we have already seen throughout this tournament. Things have changed within both teams, and we expect some surprises in and out of the server.
The pressure is on for both of these teams, both squads here. And really, when you think about the journeys of both of these teams, the actual teams themselves, teams that stuck together, that pushed through all the difficulties that would always lay itself before you in the season. And they managed to forge themselves an awesome path here to the upper finals, and here is your series layout. Lotus split, and if necessary, bind. Sideshow, what do you make of this?
It makes perfect sense that G2 would get rid of Fracture. They got stomped on that map. Valyn's talked about lowering the pace. That's going to be really important on Lotus. Like I said, EDG have been playing a deathball comp since about July. They're 7-3 on it overall, but they've lost 3 out of 4 of their last maps when they've played Lotus. So it's a comp that's getting worse over time, and G2 have a chance coming out strong.
I tell you what sticks out to me there at the end is that bind. I'm really curious to see how that one plays out if we end up going to 3.
Yeah, exactly. EDG not feeling so comfortable going to bind. After what we saw yesterday, the changes coming in from G2, they decide to go for Split, a map that G2 has only played once throughout the entirety of the year, and they were not successful in winning it. They see another weakness, and they try to exploit it. It worked the previous time, but I'm not so sure about
and
this.
Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. It was a G2 pick against Sentinels on the finals when they went for Split, right?
Yeah, it was a first-round pick in that BO5. They lost 13-4. I'd be surprised, honestly, if G2 come out with, maybe even if it is the same comp, if they go for something slightly different. Nobody goes back over to the Fade. They've been swapping between the Fade and the Sova, but it's the same idea from Edward Gaming. They have run this comp since July 10 times, 7-3, but lost 3 out of 4 of the most recent. I think G2 are going to be so ready for this.
Exactly, and I think that the context is very important. Kong not swapping again onto that Euro. EDG in general not falling into the new compositions that they've been having and treating this a little bit of that last fracture that they had on the last time that they faced against G2.
Well, folks, this is it. The winner moves on to the grand finals here in Bangkok, Thailand. Our teams are ready for the first pistol round, so let's send it over to your casters. It's Ender and Pansy.
Thank you so much, and what an incredible matchup we are teed up for here. A revenge tour for G2, potentially, right? But the battleground has been changed. They don't want to face EDG in the same way, and rightly so. EDG looked phenomenal towards those second and third maps.
They absolutely blew G2 out of the water. So we come into the series today in very new territory, like you're saying. G2 choosing to start things off on Lotus this time around. This has been an excellent map for them, but we haven't seen EDG play it since their finals. Same story on Split, but the other way around, where EDG tried to challenge G2. G2 haven't played that but one time this year. I really think these opening 2 maps are about stealing away your opponent's map pick to set yourself up in a great spot in this series.
5 more seconds and it all begins. We do have the Frenzy coming out for Kong. We're going to have a couple of bits and pieces to look towards. It will be EDG on the attack, G2 on the defending side. This is common ground for G2. How do they look now? Jorgmo already noted.
Got Jonapi playing over in Waterfall, was stun held early on in the round, but I think EDG, Smoggy especially, on this Clove is going to want to challenge into the B site, look and see if there's a potential pivot through that door.
Yeah, Deo Utility has already cleared over towards that A space, so the likes of G2, they can sit a little bit more comfortable in this stack, but already Kong's going to take the space away. They've got security on B.
Yeah, he made that noise sliding into Waterfall, but falls out because they want to fight up into heaven. 3 players ready to attack towards Leaf with this stun.
G2, you better be ready for this. You know what EDG are like. They want to bring that tempo. They want to bring that pace. They take up towards that CT side, over towards stairs. Now the fight actually begins. Util still in play. It's Leaf to fall, Trent to fall, Valyn goes down. G2 falling like flies until then. Jorgmo and Jonapi now with an uphill struggle, to say the least. Kong makes sure of it. EDG, round 1.
Just destruction here on the opening pistol for EDG. That fight up for heaven goes beautifully, and they'd also left Chichoo, who's been such a consistent problem for any team that faces EDG in this tournament. He's over in main, killing those flankers from G2 that were trying to pinch in on the retake.
And look back at that, nobody off to a belting start. And I feel like when you look through this EDG roster, every single player, their name just strikes fear, doesn't it? Chichoo, probably in line to being one of the players to walk out of this with that MVP.
He has been playing absolutely phenomenally so far across this tournament, in that series versus G2 earlier as well. Looks like into this next round, G2 have guessed poorly. 4 players on that C site, and EDG gonna quickly find that no one's really home apart from John. He doesn't even have a sheriff to his name.
This is lacking in almost all areas, hoping for a bit of timing or something on their side. Chichoo's having none of that. Jorgmo found, site secure, plants in play. Everything looking good, tick in the box.
Yeah, right now G2 just trying to show a couple of those C fights early on in these opening rounds. Start that conditioning. Smoggy's conditioning is that he's just going to kill you if you look at him.
I think that goes for all of them, actually. That seems to apply throughout. Oh, and the confidence is sky high. Leaf brought to his knees real quick.
Yeah, at least he doesn't have to go very far. He's already back in spawn, ready to rebuy a gun.
Isn't that nice of them?
Not too bad.
Any early ults to come through here? Nothing massively locked in yet. Obviously, Chichoo the closest, but not exactly something you're going to be writing home about. But again, I do want to see once those start building, who's going to be the player to kind of take the forefront in this. We've got some big names here. Maybe some that you wouldn't expect. Jaw's not even been the kind of headliner in my mind. It's been Jonah P, it's been Trent, it's been Leaf on occasion, all having their moments in the sun. Of course, for EDG, just lists off the whole roster.
Yeah, it's going to be a brawl headed over towards Rubble in this early round. I mean, tons of utility spent.
Oh, everything's here. This is absolutely wild. It's Jonah P and Trent to get the secure kills first. It's slowed down the roll a lot for EDG. Spam through the smoke, hoping for a connection. Unconfirmed damage, but damage nonetheless.
Yeah, G2 going to back out of that space, just throw up the Viper wall. Fall on back. You can see G2 a little bit worried about one player rotating into that B space, so can use a Teho drone to clear out front B, realize no one's in there. Maybe start shifting back into the A side after that, sees nothing.
No peeking. Just easing off the pressure here. EDG looking to settle into this. Again, now the pressure's almost on G2 to keep this cool, to not lose any of these access points, and I hope they don't go overly searching here. Jorgamo better play this patiently.
He could peek into spawn here, and the timing says that he might. Gets it, sees the spike. That's a good look from him. Going for more is just too much, though.
That greed could cost him. Again, these are the small margins, those fine margins. And look at the rest of G2. Look how passive they are sat here.
Exactly. And G2 don't play with the Sentinel. Neither of these teams do. So once you lose players especially, there's these huge gaps. They've got 2 players in spawn right now because you can't hold B site and A site. Instead, they're giving all that territory away, saying, you plant the spike, tell us where you are, then we'll go on the retake.
And then you look at Trent and you look at Valyn, utility at plenty. They've got plenty to play on the retake with as well. They can try and clear through some of these areas. And for EDG, it's doing their due diligence as well. Methodically approaching. A nice attempt here to stall, but I feel like they could have maybe paused for a second and tried to play off it. But regardless, they start working back through Heaven, and nobody's tried to slip the net. Now, Leaf is such an aware player. He should be heads up for this one. Lovely. Good shoulder check. Doesn't need to do too much. Needs to wait for the other two to swing in through this smoke. Looking for that paranoia. It's good. Nobody removed from the fight. Smoggy falls. Valyn strides in. It's not going to happen for nobody. G2 keep their cool.
That's that signature G2 patience, that control going in on the retake there. Leaf just barely jiggling that line. You could tell he knew that EDG were going to try to get aggressive. And it all starts with this early fight into Rubble, right? G2 had shown 2 looks where they were majority of their team over towards Sand, so as soon as they come in on the anti-bonus, it's going to be that big Rubble fight. Throw that loop at EDG, catch them off guard.
Nice, boys.
This feels like it's all about kind of setting expectations, right? Tempo expectations, the pressure, the pace coming in from this, because EDG went in really head first over towards that Rubble side, and I wonder if they're willing to brawl again, because it looks like G2 are up for it.
Honestly, EDG, when they played Trace on this map in their finals, it was just A Rubble fights on loop, and we're seeing more of it now.
Oh, this might be vicious. You're looking at Kung Kung to try and find a little bit of space to maneuver in, and if anything, he just found the bad end of the gun. Trent and Jonah P putting in the pain. G2 once again walking away with the advantage from this scrap.
I like that G2 are matching EDG blow for blow over here, because usually their A-holds are a lot more reserved. You know, let Jaw take a fight with some utility, and then he'll TP back. That's what EDG's prep would have told them, but by showing these early fights, EDG are realizing it's not that free territory they're maybe expecting in this matchup.
We saw that gear shift in the last round for G2. Hyper passive, right? Playing almost in spawn. Now, it looks like G2 still want to secure this space by Rubble. It's been evacuated. Maybe just that Teho drone coming in and still having some contact kept them present enough. But the C site is completely available. Obviously, EDG don't know that. They're still going to try and take a little bit of precaution on the way through. But this buys time for some of these rotations. And for G2, they don't need to rush things. You got to look at what util they have to play this back in with. Trent still primed with plenty. Valyn should be there as well.
What I'm looking at in this post plant, EDG are down numbers. They're going to want to fight forward, and Simon has the fault line ready to go. To me, it looks like a fight into Waterfall where G2 are stacked.
Yeah, this could be an absolute brawl breaking out. They want to have a fight. Yeah, the stun's just spot on. They're going for the swing, and it might have been a miss until then. Smoggy with back-to-back impact. He didn't expect the third, but finally Valyn makes it there. Down to the 1v1. Simon sees him playing around. What does Simon say about this one? Nothing! Valyn brings him to his knees, and this discipline from G2 looks perfect.
That was unreal, right? EDG had the perfect read, stun up 2 targets, but they weren't ready for that extra player into Waterfall. Valyn keeping his cool in that moment too. It's just exactly what G2 needed to tie it up.
I'm just impressed with the win cons that G2 are playing to, because they're reading EDG quite nicely, it feels like. Have an early scrap. Luckily for them, they've been coming out with man advantages from this fight, which I don't want to say it's a coin flip. It does feel high risk, but they've been rewarded. But then in these post plants, they know what they need to do here. EDG want to get that advantage back, want to get a player up. They're ready for these brawls.
Yeah, the brawls on the retakes are looking real clean. And honestly, they're set up to continue showing similar looks.
Let's go, baby!
Jumping into the next round, EDG going to be fighting for Rebel again, although this time G2 are not going to overcommit to the space. Giacomo's over towards C, and you look at the ults G2 have on the Tejo, on the Yoru as well. They're going to not be so keen to fight forward and instead play a heavy retake with those abilities.
And again, if you're EDG, you're being conditioned to believe there is presence there, right? So it gives G2 that freedom to now put bodies elsewhere, over towards Mound, over towards this passive B hold. It allows a lot of faith to be put in Trent.
Now that EDG have chosen not to speed up into the A side, that they're playing for this space in front B, well, G2 with this sand space, they can open up door. If EDG try to exec in, they can get a little crunch going in the mid-round.
I like what EDG are trying, though. They're going fact-finding, right? They're looking for information here. They felt maybe there was that pressure towards A, but they've already put players up towards it, right? A little bit of a show towards door, a little bit of the paranoia. These are all ticks in the box, right? They're trying to draw players over, get a read. Kong, I've noted it's on over towards Mound there.
EDG have the perfect timing to go for a B hit. Giacomo just teleported out of the sand space, so there's no crunch this time.
Oh, this is nice. It was a real feint towards A. It's drawn the eyes over there. The ult's even going to go in, but now we know it's over towards B, but the chaos continues. Jaw wants to find some impact here. He's found more than that. He's found 3. They're pouring through towards the seaside. Valyn can't get the gun out in time. EDG pivot on a dime, but they're not in the clear just yet. Kong still securing CT, holding that space, allowing the plant to come in. Chichoo catching that B rotate. They out-pivoted G2 so well this round.
EDG just snapped G2's ankles in half. I mean, what a play. They were so patient in that round, really testing out the space into A, baiting out an ultimate, and then going all the way into C.
Wow. God, that's good problem solving.
Wow. And you think back to, what was it, the pistol round where they went for that B hit, they slid into the waterfall space and then backed out of it, fought towards heaven. So that's what G2 are thinking about. This time they go all the way through and G2 have no clue what's happening to them.
And I mean, it's just the boldness in the way EDG plays. I love it. The fact they were so willing to pivot through towards C, maybe knowing G2 have been playing hyper-passive. They haven't been playing, super active on these sides. The rotations are taking that long route around playing safety. But again, the fact that they found that out by what, round 5, round 4, they have nice plans in mind. It's beautiful, and it's broken the money of G2.
All those little inserts they left on the map to watch their backs also looking very nice. Now, G2, they've got a fault line ready to stun front B if Valyn finds any sort of contact. But I like how EDG have slowed things down, because you're going to run into problems because G2 run a lot of these set trap plays, so getting the info is always very important so you don't get caught off guard.
Oh, Chichoo knows it. That smoke coming in, he was like, guys, help me out here. I'm about to be surrounded. Lovely little set piece for G2 just to maybe try and get that weapon away, right? Secure some security for themselves, get a little upgrade, and bail out. Valyn's going to have that for now, but the C site is under threat.
I don't want to make you nervous, but EDG lost 8 of their 13 anti-ecos yesterday.
Stop it. Stop it. It won't happen again, right? Not like this. Kong already going to show some dominance towards CT. Slides on in. Yeah, they're not taking any chances this time. Kong! It's the name up in lights. Pops the ult, secures the round. They are taking 0 risk.
It almost looks like just the playbook that Liquid was trying to run versus G2 the other day, where it's all these fights forward. Now a couple times back-to-back. Kong sitting at 10 kills currently. After it got a little bit dodgy at the start, it was a 3v5 at one point. Go into the Neon Ultimate, and G2 have no chance against that.
And maybe, again, look, if we note the statistics that EDG was struggling in converting those sort of rounds, having some issues there, yeah, they doubled down.
Looks to me like G2 are going to go all in for another Rebel fight here. Ready to go with stuns. I mean, just a carbon copy these last few rounds, and G2 are continuing to dominate.
Jaw lighting it up himself now, right back into things with 2 big picks. Again, man advantage. Last time around, we've seen G2 then shift into a passive hold. They have not fallen away just yet. EDG want more. They want more pain, apparently. finally, G2 punishing. That push-up, trying to get closer. It is just a massacre over towards A.
The walls closing in. From the start of the round, Leaf is full sprinting on the flank to catch out EDG. It was a great refight back through door from Trent. Jogamo starting it off with the 2K. That's what G2 need to continue to show this fight into rubble and force EDG out of that space.
Feels like a game of chicken now. I'm looking at the minimap already. Y'all can watch a replay, but it feels like who's going to back away first? Surely they won't do it again, right? Surely they won't run in this time.
Well, I'm not so sure. What EDG need to do is make sure they're not getting double flashed when they're double diving into root. I think they're going back rubble this time around, and G2 are fighting them again.
This is going to be similar scenes, isn't it? Kung trying to find his routing, find his spacing, and right now they're just finding pain here. Push back once again, Valyn wants the space, looks for his man, and it's Jonah P to catch him. Beautiful from G2, that is stunning, and it's over, surely Smoggy. This feels unwinnable, a 1v3, prove me wrong, I dare you. But this is waving the banner of G2. They're just not even giving him a chance. Have fun, good luck, catch you in the next. We're back all even.
G2 cringing it to the max after they get the kills. Not gonna let Clove have a chance to steal back into the round. But you can see those slight differences there. This time, G2 not overcommitting bodies. They let EDG into the space because they have the ultimate trump card. The breach ult just wreaks havoc on EDG, trying to flood in there one after another.
And they're not finding resolution to this, right? And we give a lot of compliments, and rightly so, to EDG for their problem-solving abilities. We love that pivot through B, but you can't keep running those. They're very hard to find repetition with. But taking space towards rubble is something, you know, it's very high up on the priority list of how you want to approach this. And they haven't found a solution, which is surprising, because as I said, they learn on the fly really well. Timeout comes in. I do wonder what their options are now going forward.
It seemed like some of the slower rounds where they're playing 2 into front B have worked out nicely for them. You can also just, instead of instantly diving into the space in rubble, you can wait out the utility and then move it back in, maybe try to catch G2 rotating out of the space after they throw down that utility. But we heard Chichoo talking about it a lot on the desk. EDG with this comp, you know, Clove, Neon in there makes sense. They just want to brawl you, and there could be a world where they come out of this timeout and make some slight adjustments to that rubble attack, because if they can't prove they can beat G2 there, you just kind of lose this side of Lotus.
Yeah, it is a huge point to fight for. What's been the difference? What's the adjustment? You can't keep doing the same thing and hoping for a different outcome. This is a broken purchase too. It ain't pretty. There's still gonna be those stingers there, but they do have 3 rifles, one being a Bulldog, yes, but still. We go again into the battlefield. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Utility
nice,
early.
Though. It's a little bit more restrained. A fake teleport this time around, getting ready for the quick reclear.
Yeah, this is nice. Now, surely G2 have considered this as well, right? We've got that Taeho drone going through B. Gonna see nothing. Re-smoke. And Valyn now gonna be stunned, but does get played in. He plays it early as well. Stunned up, he still comes out swinging. G2, this is their part of the map. I don't know how EDG are meant to make it through. They are being massacred towards A.
I can't stress enough how different this look of G2 is. Not just from the last time they played against EDG, but how they play this map of Lotus. You never see this team fighting just like this. But their prep coming in told them EDG like to fight for this space. Josh RT said, don't let them have it for free. And they pretty consistently forced the issue on Rebel.
And again, we were kind of complimenting it even in that round. The little tempo change there from EDG, showing a little bit of patience, not going into the util early, not wanting that early scrap, but G2 still just spamming into the smoke, winning every fight. This feels like a shutout. It is crazy to see this. EDG, keep in mind, they won the pistol, got the follow-up. These are sort of things that add to the scoreline.
Going back.
Do you know the whole definition of madness thing is doing the same thing over and over and hoping for a different outcome? Surely there is a difference.
It's a little better. It's the fake TP again, except this time instead of the re-clear, it's going to be a quick B pivot. I love this look from EDG.
We liked it before as well. We liked it even when they went through Waterfall. We liked a lot of this. And I'd like to see a bit more EDG. Are they going for the plan here? They are, but close by, G2 are waiting. Nobody lucky, but flashed in. Proactive on the play. Takes the swing, takes the trade. Better. EDG winning out their fights, but Valyn tipping the scales right back in. It's a scrap through and through. This is a bloody battle from start to end, down to the 2v2. G2 win back the site at least.
There's a late flank coming in from Chichoo as well. He's one in main, but Chichoo is on the hunt.
There's no way. Chichoo, your timing is everything. They thought about it, Leaf thought about it, but Jaw on the other side! He's got it! A safe pair of hands for G2 today. Exactly what they needed.
You just can't discount Chichoo in a spot like that.
No, you
can't. The
can't.
collective holding of breath in this arena. Because every other time he's in a spot like that this tournament, he has won it. Finally, someone steps up to take him down. G2 really were challenged on this retake again. EDG getting up in their face.
I keep expecting one team just to slow down the pace, but it's just trading back and back and back and back. It's crazy watching these two just fight this out the whole way.
It's a bit heartbreaking for EDG because once again, it's a pad buy. Once again, out of this timeout, it's showing some presence A, but not going into the space, but clearly the adjustment hasn't resulted in much of anything for EDG.
Luke's been chilling. He's not had much to do on this side of the map. He's relaxed. He might not be now.
I kind of forgot C existed, I'm not going to lie.
Certainly early round, at the very least, Kong going to be lucky to be alive on 20. Whoa! A flying leap looking like a force of nature. Goes back in. What on earth are you thinking? Audacious play. But G2, again, showing their willingness to fight on these sites.
Health bars were looking bad for EDG, but it was mostly the decay damage. Now EDG, what do we do? Still one off from a breach ultimate. Nothing else really to play with, but you know they want to get aggro.
They're going to be hungry for this one too. Oh, not pretty for Smoggy there. That's rough. Forced away. Now the site starts to constrict. Starts to feel smaller. Starts to feel uncomfortable. Valyn, not clean himself, but more HP. Job done. Simon and Chichoo. We say when Chichoo stands, it always feels like there's a chance, but this is a lot to ask for. It might be, oh my god, it is still Chichoo. Hold on. There's a bad diving behind. He had no idea about it. Jorgamo bounding through the map. And G2 with another. EDG without a response.
EDG have to figure out something here because it's starting to slip away. From 4 to 4, G2 going on a run here, up to 7. Yes, it comes off the back of 2 half buys from EDG, but it's the manner in which it's happening, their game plan being deconstructed, that is the most concerning. EDG have not been able to find an answer to these early fights. They've started shying away from them, but even then, G2 are having so much more success in the post plants.
This feels deranged. We're going back to A again. Again and again we go. Operator there for Leaf, he's fine now. He can just sit there on the angle if he fancies it, but here comes the fight. We've seen it before, and it looks like we'll see it again. This time, Kong gonna be the difference maker. But it ain't over yet. Trent still here, slows down the roll, backs away. The first time this fight has gone EDG's way.
This post plant is going to be a bloodbath. Simon has the rolling thunder. There's ults on Jaw and Trent, and G2 are moving quickly.
Yeah, they want to get back in. Jaw fancies it. He wants to have a little bit of a biff on this one. EDG, he's seen everything. Calls for it, forces him forward. Leaf with a 1-2 punch, trying to find more punish. It's Trent down to the 2v2, but nobody and Smoggy finally bring EDG around.
EDG are right back in it. Oof. Just an explosive round between these two teams, toe and toe throughout this opening half. It's a different feeling in the air, but this series is already shining up to be a good one.
Had it with your old phone? We've got you. At Verizon, trade in any old phone for iPhone 16 Pro on us, on any plan. And get iPad and Apple Watch Series 10, all 3 on us. That's up to $2,000 in value, only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
So far at this tournament, G2 and EDG have played 7 pistol rounds versus each other. Currently, EDG have won all 7. They're coming into the second half trailing, but for G2 to come home and take this series seriously, they've got to be able to show up in these early rounds.
Spot on. And that scoreline could rattle a lesser team. But as you said, EDG have the strength of the pistol round. That's something that sat with them well throughout this matchup and this specific head-to-head. It could be enough to close the scoreline up. But can they stick true to the stats?
That's the ultimate question here on the opener. And honestly, I think I might get a little bit more of a respite. Hold on, Smoggy's dodged away from some of this utility down to 5.
Lucky boys. I don't think they know the damage they've done, but still, damage done.
It's crazy that Kong Kong's just been left completely alone, but Simon has Fault Line to support him on this fight.
He's gonna need help. Someone help him. Kong Kong is so alone.
What?
It felt disjointed, maybe a misread here. EDG looking a little bit behind the curve, and look at where Leaf's gone to. Simon trying to be subtle with it, but there's nothing subtle about it. Easy light work for Valyn. This looks, for the first time in a while, like EDG are completely behind the wheel.
Yeah, that's certainly a way to win a pistol round. Just 2 free kills to start things off. My eyes are on Smoggy on the flank, but again, he's on 5 HP, so unless he's shooting Jean in the back of the head, and look at those nades! What?
No way! That is an absolute tilter of a way to end it. And Smoggy was the one who was just like battered and bruised from the start. And we were singing the praises of EDG. I have never seen them look so out of sorts there.
Yeah, that was wild. I want to see exactly what happened. My guess is that the wall came down at the same time as the double Tejo nade came in, and EDG were just completely caught off guards. Boom. Oh, there was a stun. A nasty little stun.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm not actually sure if they even needed to use the stun on the exec. G2 might have been holding that the entire time, or just getting it off the refresh.
G2 look like a different beast, don't they? This worries me, because again, 7 out of 7 were EDGs. That was something that was such a big backbone to their games, always getting that nice buffer at the beginning. Now, you're going to have to work it out without that. And a big start here for G2, up to 8 early. Jaw having a good little series 2 for him here. A little confidence builder after what's been, I don't want to say a bad performance, but we know his highs. Very hard to have that against a team like EDG.
Exactly. Time to jump. G2 going for true FPX buy here, 3 rifles, so options to upgrade into round 15. Start to snowball this half away potentially. Looking at ultimates, they haven't done a stellar job so far of scaling those up, although Trent on 3 right now. If they slow play this round, play for the orbs, the plant, he could certainly get close.
Real nice edge stuff, but look where the spike's heading. Thank you, observers, you absolute beauties.
So G2 and EDG are very different teams. EDG on their attacking side fought A at 1 minute 40 seconds, I think every single round, or just about.
Give or take.
G2 play a lot slower, moving over to the C site, but EDG have done their homework. They've got a flank going, yeah, that gets shut down, but the rotates are in, and G2 only have 30 seconds to play with. They're pivoting away from C.
I do get nervous when I see these rounds go this late. There is that one sheriff with Kong Kong, so that's basically where my mind goes towards. And oh my god, forgive me, Simon. I didn't think your classic could do that sort of thing, but apparently it can. 18 seconds now. Getting a little closer. Jonah P on the case. Trying to secure this smoke, because you know the temptation would be to try and work through it. Chichoo has a go at it, doesn't work out. Kong Kong down a little low here. And all those opportunities fading. G2, very... the composure is impressive. Again, they were discussing that they were going to come in with a different pace, right? Change the pace up a little bit, play a little bit slower almost, be a little bit more methodical about it. And so far, it's holding true. I get nervous when you get down to like 25, but still.
Sure, yeah, you know, we can get on the edge of our seats just a little bit, but Valyn thought that by sort of going for all these early active plays, rushing in the calls, it sort of let EDG play the game style that they wanted to. So I think this half is going to be a lot more G2 true style, slowing the rounds down, leaving embeds over towards stairs into mound. And EDG, without a sentinel of their own, are going to have to do good work to re-clear space and find nice openers like that. You can't complain there.
No, you take those when you get them. Okay, let's have a look at the rest of the map. EDG having a walk, having a wander, stretching the legs.
Get the blood flowing.
That's the one. that feels smaller, but you're starting to feel a little bit nervous if you are Chichoo. And then again, it is Chichoo. Maybe I'm talking absolute nonsense, because this man's been an absolute monster. Not now. Trent bullies him, takes the site. G2 have control on this now.
And they have the read as well, going up the zip line. I think they realize EDG, they would have hurt them already had they been coming to fast retake, but instead, that flank, the drone, doesn't actually see any players. EDG might be able to creep up on Jaw.
I feel like Jaw's ready for it though. He's looking towards his smoke. He's got a good idea, but Smoggy succeeded. Takes away Valyn, and now they can start getting that stranglehold going. Jaw falls. It's down to Trent and Jonah P, and they're looking in trouble here. A really hard post plant, but already that's a trade, but it's not quite good enough. No more to be done. EDG proactive on the play back in, taking that walk through B, and will get themselves on the board now.
I wouldn't be surprised to see EDG go for more looks like that, right? If you're worried about G2 leaving inserts and late lurks on you non-stop, just push out the flanks, no problem.
Goddamn.
That was probably the best time you could possibly find. Nice shot there too from Smoggy. As he was the sole presence coming in through his own spawn. If he falls, it's much easier for G2 to turn around and focus on those flankers. He was really the turning point in that round for EDG.
Okay, so bonus round has been navigated. EDG, get what you'd kind of expect, right? If it's a traditional game. This feels nothing like a traditional game, but we're looking at Trent, already there. Big progress for him. Jaw, 2 away. On the other side, nothing mega close yet. Maybe Smoggy's is on the horizon. But it's certainly not there right now.
It's a pretty low commitment default from EDG. You've got nobody throwing a haunt from B site that lands over towards rubble. You've got Kong sort of eyeing up that space in a one-way towards C, but they're not giving G2 a lot to move on. So G2 are going to have to clear out this space, realize Baby Door isn't broken, and speed up into B site.
Yeah, they fancy it now. The temptation beckoning and snaring the senses, making that B side look almost tantalizing. Plants in there. You can see the Prowler from deep. They're very paranoid for EDG that someone could be lurking towards that A side.
This fight here is everything. Jonah P gets in the corner.
Oh my god, the Professor! Absolutely teaching him a lesson. Takes down 2, but a good trade. Now, Chichoo, nobody and Smoggy have a long way back in here though. Valyn, gonna be caught in the decay. Nobody now. Takes the next step forward. This is perfect. 3v3. Nice from Chichoo. Takes away Jaw, and bit by bit, EDG unraveling G2. Leaving Just Leaf. Oh, but maybe it's not Just Leaf. Hold on. A 1v2 ain't easy though, smoked off as well. Beckoned forward by the spam, by the tap on the spike. He's got to go! Nice try! But better from Chichoo, but the timing.
No!
It's
I don't think so! .07!
God damn!
G2 just steal around on time, why not? And what a fashion to do it because EDG, they're in a numbers down situation.
Yep.
Right? And then they win every single 1v1 they take.
Yep.
Nobody. Chichoo, Smoggy on the flank.
Feeling like an EDG round, right?
And if Leaf can't get that kill just slightly faster on the reactions, then Chichoo. That round belongs to EDG.
They don't look too fussed about it, but I'm feeling the pressure now. 10-6, double digits made early. G2 looking to try and approach this, but EDG, okay.
They've got
the corner.
No guns, but the power of friendship, I suppose.
Yeah.
No, Hong Kong's got a bulldog. I don't feel like this might be the one that works for him. You know, it's one of those weird rounds. Okay, I've been talking absolute nonsense. Jaw's already got Kong Kong. Leafs identified that there was some pressure on the other side. Does get outdone though, and that's a recovered rifle.
Yep, into the hands of Chichoo, no less. So what does Jogmo have to do? Has to pop the ultimate, clear out this A site. Right now, it's just Simon playing up inside of this smoke. He's got a bulldog in hand.
Doesn't get spotted either. They don't know about Simon here. Now they do. Quick little get-out-of-jail free card there for Jaw, but still, plant is in.
Heavy off-site post-plant for G2. Not over-forcing like they did the last time around, but really it's Chichoo with the rifle in hand to try and break this round open. He gets the first.
Oh, it's stunning from Chichoo. More? No. Jonah P on the trade. Paranoia comes in, and now the numbers starting to fall as this is looking rough. You can see the util being poured on here. Trent even going to claim one, going to put the ult on top. They're taking no chances. Smoggy had his ult, but doesn't feel like he's going to get the chance to use it here. G2 on the verge of 11, but Smoggy giving a damn good go. Jonah P having none of it. G2 make it out, even though it got a little bit dangerous. It's 11 nonetheless.
Yeah. You know, they had to throw a couple ultimates into the mix. G2 aren't going to be thrilled about that, especially because EDG have a great ult cycle of their own coming on through. And ultimately, here, I feel like if Chichoo had been able to find a second coming, there's a world where he gets 3 kills and can steal that round away. You know, he's had a lot of these spots where he's always good for his 1 kill, but in other days, he is having montage performance. He's getting those 3. That's the EDG that blew G2 out of the water. If he can, out of this timeout, tap back into that, it's going to be a lot more threatening as we close out this first map.
EDG pumping the brakes, and I think rightly so here. It's not been a good first map for them, really. The string of rounds alone, I mean, we're looking at it, you guys can't see, but it is looking real G2-sided as it stands. So for now, I guess we could kind of put this in context. This is G2's map choice. Right? They've had time now to plan how they want to approach this. They come in with a lot more information in their own minds, and they come off a very good win as well. These are things that should be in the forefront of their minds. Now, of course, they did get absolutely put to bed by EDG in the first time they met. That first map, banger, brilliant, amazing. The rest, probably soon, hopefully forget it, right? Yeah. But here, it feels like G2 have a plan in mind that's working. EDG, I've rarely seen them look like a team without an answer, which is kind of what it's feeling like.
Usually EDG can find those answers in just the stellar performances of their individual players, especially in a comp like this, right? You don't lock in the Clove and then not put up big numbers. Smoggy's doing well for himself, but so far we haven't had that lights-out superstar performance. We haven't had that one guy to step up and say, today's the day EDG are winning. Something they've had every other match they played this year.
Looks like a very simplistic start, but there is a default being held on both extremities here.
Stun off of the breach could open up that door and fight it to B main, but G2 have a chance to pinch themselves going through a one-way.
But it's going to find so little, I think. It's Jonah Pete to deny Smoggy, going to force the res, but it's Chichoo being played in here. Deals with Jaw, doesn't fall foul to it, but a diving Jonah P puts him to bed. It's down to a 4v4. Jonah P is an absolute monster. Trent going to find Simon. Why does G2 make this look easy? This is EDG. These are the reigning champions, and right now, G2 are walking all over them. I can't believe it. And you can get one, but one is not enough. G2 are there in numbers. Kung, if there was a player to do it, to deny the 12, you'd argue it could be him. Right now, G2 looking like they're on another level. The utility there to stall. The time being bought. And the first man has a go, but Leaf's just toying with him, playing with his food. Kung can't get past the go signal. This is wild. It's not that it's just a win, and at least in my mind at 12-6, it's the fashion in which G2 are making EDG look out of sorts.
Almost that systematic destruction in every single opening tool taken. EDG love to play the brawly style.
They excel at it.
They do, but Jonah P has awareness to every new player that's swinging him off an angle. You know, his teammate gets taken down, so he trades them out. Door opens, instantly ready on the swing, on that 50-50.
Cutting through.
It's only map 1 though, right? Things will change, you'll get closer. 12-6, we go back in, and it feels familiar, right? This feels like we've been here before, but G2 stake their claim over towards Rubble.
EDG keeping 2 players tucked in close behind that wall. Waiting for the reclear, and with nobody finding that pick into mid, that might encourage G2 to keep fighting forward into A.
They have no idea about how many players are around this corner, though. They could walk into this. Yeah, Kung this time is fired up, and then completely just seems
looking at
drift. Oh my God.
What are they looking at?
I don't understand what I'm seeing. This is EDG. This is not a second-tier team. This is one of the best in the world, arguably the best in the world. And right now, they look asleep at the wheel. G2 just driving forward. We're going to need heroics to save this round. Maybe it's nobody's time to shine. Chichoo there, Smoggy there. Valyn and Jonah P to claim, but Jonah P has been a monster. Nasty in his work. Valyn in the smoke.
Last player standing.
Chichoo catches. Nice from Chichoo. That was better. But that felt bizarre halfway through that round.
Left scratching your head for a moment there. Even though EDG had done all the great opening work, nobody finding the pick into mid. That first kill towards Rubble too. Got a little bit diabolical.
One enemy remaining.
We need someone like Chichoo to heat up a bit here, right? Chichoo, give me a little something, because we've been singing this guy's praises, you know? On for the MVP, the big man kind of taking all the limelight. These are the games we need you to show up in as well. He's not doing badly. He's 14 to 15, but you know, he's a superstar. So we go again at 12 to 7. G2 held off from that wanted 13. Smoggy, big chance, big shot. Oh, it's gorgeous. A third potentially as well. He waits.
This fight into front B is going to be everything. As smokes come in, Trent tries to fight his way out, carve himself away on through.
Yeah, but Smoggy, he's still on this one. He's still there. They're still trying to battle it out towards B, but Smoggy's controlling so much. You are a lucky boy, Smoggy. The gods smiled on you this round. But Valyn left in a 1v3. Got Spike, got ult.
Plenty of time, too. A paranoia, a couple of smokes. He's got to hunt out the first kill, though, and getting spotted is brutal.
He's got 1v1s on basically every single site he wants to go to. Now, do you fancy a chance against Smoggy, who's kind of 1v4'd your team?
Kind of killed everyone this round, so I wouldn't like that personally.
Do you even invest your paranoia to clear this close corner? Do you back him still on it? Because Smoggy certainly does the setup here. Knife's edge, and it's Smoggy. What a stunner from him. 4 kills and a step back.
In this replay, I want you to watch Smoggy. Of course, excellent gunplay, but Chichoo is the one that bails him out. Smoggy gets stunned back here, but a paranoia catches both of these players. There's the clone and the Yoru. That's what gives him the chance in the round. Then he has the one-way, those BDCs running on through it. All the gunplay after that, just clinical.
G2's first time out here. Something, they don't like it. Because there's something special about EDG, and I feel like we haven't had much of a chance to talk about it in this game because G2 were the better team so far. But at 12 to 8, I still get nervous when I look at EDG because there's still that chance that you get a round from Smoggy.
Oh, yeah.
And that's without talking about Chichoo, Kung, nobody. Sorry, I mean, you go down the list.
They're terrifying, you know?
And if they start activating him, then that's 9 rounds. 10,
Look, Pansy,
11.
EDG hadn't won 2 rounds in a row in like the last 15 rounds. Now they've got a little bit, they win 2 in a row, G2 call a timeout. The things I'm looking at right now are a little bit spooky. Yeah, okay, G2 have a buffer of 4 rounds.
What's spooky?
Well, I see 5 stingers for G2, that's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, Kong's decided to go for the operator. And honestly, when I've been watching a lot of the early fights that EDG have been doing well, they've been leaving Kong sort of on an island to take those isolated fights, fighting a lot more around Smoggy and Chichoo. So I think putting the op in his hands could just work. Sneak away a few rounds towards the end of regulation.
But I've heard a thing about Americas with stingers. I've heard these fables about it, right? They work better out there.
They're a little bit wild.
It's crazy that Riot tuned them that way, but we'll see. Okay, EDG, if you want to make a game out of this, it starts now. Make this look clean. Make this look like you have the perfect purchase up against a bunch of stingers. Show me what you can do here, because already G2 have a plan. And Jaw, I don't think you come out of this alive, you don't. Chichoo puts him into the blender. And G2 held at the door here. EDG don't need to stick around too far.
Trying to work back in, but yeah, EDG can just fall back into a nice crossfire. It was a great counter stun from Simon into the blast that took out G2's duelist, and now the stall is just about endless.
Not going to get the opening move they wanted out of that. It was a nice little idea. I like the approach, the mentality. Doesn't really stick the landing.
And the worst part is G2 needed that to work because that would open up the lurk for Leaf to move into the A site. But because they weren't able to make much headway, well, Kong's op is still back towards stairs. So Leaf moving forward would be absolutely mental.
Here we go. Could be an X factor here, or it could be nothing. All up, G2 move in. Now focus through towards tree. Kong doesn't really get much play here, at least not yet. I'll be a little nervous when Trent's around. He's been sharp, but Kong,
this is a bit early.
He's feeling brave on this one. He's feeling quite bold, actually. Kept secured by the smoke, but only for a second. Look at who's closing in on the other side as well. So just a centimeter apart. Hello, Kong quick with it. Support from Simon, and G2 left in towards the ult. It's down to a 3v2. They're going to force out the ult as well. Simon taking no chances here. They want to bulldoze forward. Oh, I told you about these stingers. And maybe it's true. Smoggy has to pull this off himself. And the time is ticking. G2! The stinger in hand, more than enough to close out map 1.
I can't believe it's going down like that. G2 on 5 stingers in a 4v5, no less. pull away the round, take map 1 in this series to determine who is headed to the grand finals.
At your party.
I'm with the gang.
It's gonna be a robbery, so take your gun buddies.
Aw. I'm a gun buddy girl, I'm sorry.
Face your death, cause you play a roulette with each step I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bet, cause we know where we at, we know we top tier. Cause all the hate that you bring, we know it stops here. I'm taking off like a rocket here and stopping here. It's strange how they cannot see the future but see profit here. Wait up, we gon' always win. Promise that that's not a promise, yeah, that is a threat. You know that I promise to bring the team commas. When the whole team win, that's when you flex. Win, and I'ma do it again. Watch me win, then watch me do it again.